Education is the heart and soul of the Samvia brand as we stand before you for the love of education.
Whether it's through live education or maybe through social media, we're always trying to make a personal connection with you, the learner.
Our contributions in education will be our legacy in this age.
At Samvia, our smile is our logo, and our personality is our business card. And how you feel when you walk away after an educational experience is our trademark.
The heart of Samvia is education. Join our journey, my friends, and we will change your life behind the chair.
Happy Tuesday to you all. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday. Hey, pop into the chat where you're watching from so we can tell who's in the audience with us. If you're here, I imagine that you love Samvia. And if you are a Samvia lover, you can actually bring the Samvia art team into your salon live and hands-on, because who doesn't want some hands-on education, right? You can head to samvia.com/education for more information how to bring the team into your salon. And if you are someone who loves Samvia tools, you can actually make a commission off of helping to put those tools in your friends' hands. So you can head again to samvia.com for more information. You get a 20% commission anytime someone uses your affiliate code, plus they earn an additional 10% discount. And that's even if there's promotions happening on the website. So it's a super, super awesome way for you to make a little extra cash and save your friends some money. Today, for Transformation Tuesday, we have the awesome Molly Getz with us. Molly is a Samvia ambassador. She is a Redken artist, and she's also a shareholder in Soto's signature salon, where she works as a hairdresser. So we're super excited to see her do some amazing layering today. Please welcome in the chats the awesome Molly Getz.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. That was such a nice introduction. I'm so excited to share these layering techniques, because I'm sure you have clients that are like mine in the salon where they want a one length look. Maybe they wear their hair really long or in this mid-length range, but their hair doesn't have any personality or move when you want it to move. Have you ever seen those clients where it's almost like that helmet head situation? You know, watch how the ends of this hair that's been cut one length, it just kind of moves as one unit. Can you see how that works? Now, I've encountered this situation with quite a few of my clients in the salon, and they tell me the same thing. I want a one length look, but I want it to have some volume and some lift. I want to have a style to it. If you've experienced that with a client, give me a I have in the chat. So what we've discovered is this method of ghost layering that helps give the illusion of a one length look, but it gives the hair some personality and allows the hair to, what I like to say, dance. So I am going to share with you 3 different ways that I like to add these ghost layers into the hair, utilizing 2 of my all-time favorite Samvia tools. And so let's get into it, shall we? So the first thing to know about my beautiful model here, no pulse and no opinion, the best kind of model, right? I cut this mannequin's hair in a one length bob. So it's at this like mid-length. I didn't add any graduation to it. And I also just did a nice round brush style. I really wanted to prep this mannequin in a really realistic situation, because how many times do we hear that from clients? You know, they want volume in their hair, but when all of the hair is landing in the same spot at the perimeter, it's really hard to get that hair to move. So one method that I like to do on my guests is working in this occipital bone range. So what I'm doing right now is just getting my hair sectioned off so I can view the occipital range. And I love these dry sectioning clips. If you don't have dry sectioning clips, you need to get your hands on these dry sectioning clips. These are an absolute game changer to have in my toolkit. because they don't leave any creases in the hair. And I am in the business of efficient working because I like to spend a lot of my time with my clients working on the finishing of their hair. So while I'm cutting, I like to cut nice and quick and efficiently. Little details like having a dry sectioning clip that won't put creases in the hair. It won't mess up any of the finishing work that I've already done, and I can move a little bit faster. So that's how I like to work behind the chair. I don't know about you all, but definitely efficient working is key. So what I've done is sectioned out right at the occipital bone. And what we can do with our comb is find out where that occipital bone lives by balancing it on the back of the head, and where that comb lifts off, that's where that protrusion of the occipital bone is. That's going to be my horizontal parting to get out of the way, so that way I can expose all of this hair in the nape area. I'm sure you have clients in the salon like mine where they have seemingly like a giant abundance of hair in this nape area. I don't know where it comes from or how it gets there, but I have so many clients that have that situation. So what we're wanting to do in this nape area to allow this hair to move and dance a little bit more than what it is right now is by doing some interior layering, or what we're calling ghost layering. I like the idea of like the ghost layering because it gives that illusion of how the hair will just kind of float after we add the layers. So I am going to make sure that I'm protecting enough of the perimeter area of this haircut so we don't cut into it and create too much wispiness through the ends. Now, some of you may be thinking, can we do this technique on fine hair? And once I show you what we're doing, I think you'll discover that for those fine-haired guests, you can absolutely utilize this technique as well. So what I'm doing is taking about an inch thick section horizontally right at this occipital bone, and I'm going to elevate it straight up into the air. And what I'm doing as I'm elevating is, see through my hands, I'm leaving some of these ends exposed, but I'm watching the ends of this perimeter drop out. So I can see in my comb that I have some perimeter ends that are starting to drop out. And when I start to see that area drop out, I know that I've exposed enough of the ends from the top of the section that I'm going to be comfortable cutting into that section. So I'm going to turn my mannequin so you can see how I've lifted the hair. I am lifting the hair straight up, parallel with the wall. And you'll notice, because I'm at the occipital bone, I'm resting my hand on the head. This is giving me maximum elevation in the back of the head where I'm going to be cutting. And so now that we've seen the elevation, I'm just going to turn it one more time so that way we can see how I'm going to be cutting. Now, my tool of choice right now is the 14-tooth point cutting shear. I am obsessed with these shears. I love them because I do a ton of point cutting in the salon, but as I mentioned before, I like efficient work. So the reason these point cutting shears make my life so easy is with just a few pulls of the shear, I have now created some vacancies throughout the ends of this hair to allow some air to move through that hair. Air through the hair. That's my little rhyme for the day. You guys didn't know, but I'm also an amateur rhymer. I'm not really. I just say those things to get people to laugh. So what we're going to see here is I'm not trying to remove all of the hair from the ends. I just wanted to remove a lot of it. But look at the texture that those 14-tooth point cutting shears gives the ends of the hair. So I'm going to drop this section and I'm going to just move over to the right side of the head, pick up another about inch-ish. I'm calling it an inch-ish because everyone's density is going to be a little different. I'm going to elevate the hair straight up. And what I'm watching for underneath my section in my fingers is where the hair starts to fall out from the underneath part of this section. I can also use a visual guide from the piece I just cut. So if you're having a hard time seeing, oh, I'm not sure where that hair is falling out at, I'm just going to put a little bit of that previous section in the tip of my finger so I can see at about this point is where I started the point cutting from before. Now I'm just going to put my point cutting shear in, and I like to enter the point cutting shear in at an angle. So you'll see it's going in at, we'll call it a 45-degree angle. And I'm removing the hair on an angle as well as using the teeth of the point cutting shear to give me a variation of lengths throughout that section. Pretty cool, right? This is a very gentle way to start to release some density from the ends of the hair while really giving that client those invisible ghost-like layers. Even the most skeptical of clients won't be able to detect where this is happening at. I have a couple clients like that who I think they make it their mission to try to detect when I'm doing something different to change their hair. And when I do things like this method of using these texture shears, it looks like we're about to take a lot of hair out of this section. And using the 14-tooth point cutting shear, it just gives us a little bit, it gives us the softness that we're looking for, but it's one of those things that it also builds some confidence in what we're doing, because when we pull the hair down, we can see we haven't taken any weight out of that perimeter length.
Yeah. Taylor's asking if we don't have the 14-tooth shears, if we have to use our regular shears, would we just be making kind of more V-shaped cuts, or what would you suggest if we just have a regular pair of shears?
Yeah, that's a great question, Taylor. So I'm going to pick up my streamline shears and I'll show you what I would do if I don't have a texture shear. I also do this technique with my Invisalign shear is a great option for someone with like really, really dense, thick hair. And someone with really straight hair, I find that those blend really nicely. So I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'm going to turn a little bit more. I'm going to elevate this hair straight up. And now with my streamline shear, what I'm going to do is go in with the streamline shear, and my shear is going to stay almost parallel with the strands of hair, but I'm just going to do some deep point cuts. So as I'm doing these deep point cuts, I'm closing the shear as I'm moving away from my fingers. So that way I am protecting myself from, cutting myself, as well as getting that nice deep point. So you can see the V's are really, really steep V's. They're not going to be super shallow V's. And that's going to give us, I'm going to drop that here so you can see, that's going to give us all of that dimension within the ends of the hair. Can you see those really deep V marks? Yeah, so you can absolutely use any type of tool that you have available. I mean, you can even do this with a razor. But what I want to show you now is that we've done that section, and it was a small section, but check out how much from this profile view, look at how much more movement that hair has in the ends. It just, like, I'm going to say it a million times, the hair can dance now, and we didn't take away any density from the perimeter line, which I love. So again, for our most skeptical clients who are like, you're layering my hair, it's like, well, we have to do something to make your hair move a little bit so it doesn't just sit on your head like a helmet. You know those clients that have that helmet head situation and they just don't want to let go of it, but they don't know how great their hairstyle could be without that heaviness from all of their hair ending at one point. Now take a look at that. Do you detect any crease marks? Because I sure don't. I love those clips. Awesome. So now here's the thing. All we did was that one section in the back, and look at how much that's changed. Where's her profile? This profile view from the back. When we first started out, that profile stuck out a little bit more on this bottom half of the head. Now it's starting to curve inward a little bit more, and even look at how much more that hair moves away from itself. And all we did was that small occipital section. Pretty cool, right? If you've learned something so far, say I have in the chat. I love the chat option. It's so great. Okay, so now let's move on to some topical ghost layers. Here is the next scenario. You've got that guest. I find a lot right now, because back to school haircuts are really, really popular. Everyone's bringing their teenagers and kids in to get their haircut in my salon anyway. What I'm finding is a lot of teenagers are wearing their hair really long and straight, and they just need some weight removed out of their hair without giving them layers. I know that my teenage niece, she hates layers, but she loves the way layers looks, but she doesn't want to deal with having short bits on the top of her haircut. So we create these ghost layers to give them the best of all the worlds. So I see in the chat, can you use regular thinning shears? Yeah, absolutely. I actually have another pair of texture shears here, the reversible blenders. You could use those. You could use any type of shear you really want. I know that might sound like kind of silly, but even like your 7-inch dry cutting shears, if you have someone with mass amounts of hair, it's a great option. So, ghost layer. Sorry, I got really, really excited about all of that just now. So what we're gonna do to create these ghost layers is I'm taking diagonal forward partings. Let me spin her a little bit. I was telling Andrew like the mirror image situation. I'm like trying to get used to it. We've got our diagonal forward parting, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this technique just on one side of the head so you can see, and then I'm gonna do a different technique on the other side of the head. So this area that I'm starting in is gonna be right in front of the ear, and I'm gonna take this diagonal parting from in front of the ear and part up to the back part of the head. And in this section, what I'm gonna do is elevate the hair straight up off the head. So what I'm gonna do to show you the elevation first is spin. I'm gonna throw my comb on the ground, but I have barbicide pants, so it's all good, it's all clean. I think Jesse Linares is the first person that I ever heard the barbicide.
I was just gonna say, that was such a Jesse Linares thing to say.
I love it. So what I'm gonna do is elevate the hair straight up so you can see that I am parallel now with the walls in my room. And what I'm gonna do to create these ghost layers is standing in front of my section so that way I can see. I am gonna take my streamline shears and I am going to keep my shear parallel with this section of the hair. So what we're gonna do when I'm doing these ghost layers is my ring finger in my holding hand is going to be like a kickstand for my shear. My still blade of my shear is going to rest on my ring finger. And what I'm gonna do is slowly open and close as I am working my way. I'm gonna move my finger so you can see what I'm doing, but I'm gonna move my way up the hair, keeping my shears parallel, and I'm also sliding my fingers up and away from the top of the head. I might be getting a little high, so I will lower my mannequin down for my next section, but I committed to that section, so I'm gonna lower it. So what we can see here is, I'll try to show you that, there we go, that variety of lengths that are within that section to create all of that interior layering. Let me drop my mannequin just a little bit so you can see the very top of the section for my next section. So what this is creating by using our streamline shear or any straight blade shear that you want. These streamline shears are my personal favorite. They are, I think on the website, they're actually labeled as a workhorse, and they truly are. I mean, I use them to cut wet hair, to cut dry hair. They glide through the hair seamlessly, absolutely seamlessly. They're the best shear that I've used for everyday use. These are a 6 1/4 inch in length, and I like to use a length that is like I would call these like a medium length shear. Would you agree, Andrew? Like they're not as long as a 7-inch dry cutting, but they're not like a 5 1/2. They're like a medium shear.
Yeah. We usually say like that 6 1/4 inch range, sort of like your workhorse daily driver sort of range.
I like that, daily driver. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So what I'm doing, because these shears are a nice medium length, is I'm getting a long to short variation of lengths throughout that section. So I'm not cutting anything straight across blunt. It's just a long to short, long to short, long to short. And it's giving us, you can see I'm taking, about, I don't know, 1.5 inches of length off of those ends. But what this is leaving behind is also length within that section. So I'm going to rotate this mannequin one more time. And now I'm in this front, let's call this a triangle. It's a triangle. This front triangle where their fringe area would be. And this is where we can make some decisions depending on how this person wants to wear their hair. I could either just completely leave this section out if they don't want to see any type of movement around their face. But most usually I am going in and protecting that front hairline by using these diagonal forward partings. So what we can see with these diagonal forward partings is as we elevate and get that hair moved away from the face, these pieces around the hairline are going to fall out anyway. They're not even going to reach the top. So we don't have to worry about cutting into that hairline by using diagonal forward partings like this. So it's a good protection. It's like a protection plan. So I have a visual guide from my previous section that just fell out. And what I can see in the top of my fingers here is my guide from before we're aiming for about this area right there. A lot of this is really visual. So if using visual guides is something that, stresses you out a little bit, it's something really cool to practice. I used to get really worked up about not having a really exact guide and exact lines, and everything in my world is very precision. But I found that precisionness, if that's a word, I'm not sure if it is, but being precise like that all the time doesn't always allow us to live our best hairdresser life with giving ourselves some creative freedom to create things like this. So take a look at that perimeter and what's the word I'm looking for? Silhouette. That's the word I'm looking for. The silhouette of each of these sides now. This right side here with those ghost layers. Now look at how much lift and volume we can get out of that hair just by taking those corners out and giving those really deep point cuts out in the sides compared to what I can get on the side that has nothing cut. But the thing I love about this is when you go and you smooth it out, and how people will just wear their hair, down and natural once the world is, they're out in the world. This is how she's going to walk around with this haircut. It still has the illusion of being one length, but now with a little bit of danciness to it. Yeah, it's a great technique. Now, here's the reason that I choose to cut with my shears underneath my fingers when I'm holding my fingers, and drop her back down, versus point cutting on top. Because we can agree, point cutting is a really helpful technique when we're trying to build texture into the ends of the hair. Clip that out of the way. I'm going to get back to my diagonal forward sections. But a lot of times I find when I am doing deep point cuts on the top of my section, let's just pretend I'm going to go do that now. When I'm going in and doing deep point cuts on top of my section, I have to work a little harder trying to keep my shears in line with every individual piece of hair. Or sometimes we'll take off too much hair because we might go in and do one of these. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because, like I said, she's a mannequin. She doesn't care. So I might go in and try to get these like deep point cuts, and we have, where's my white wall? Hang on one second. There we go. You see how with these deep point cuts, we are getting those peaks and valleys in our ends, but it's not always as undetectable as when we cut with our shears parallel and underneath our fingers. So if this is one of those scenarios where you find you need to have some Band-Aids on hand to teach yourself to not cut into your fingers, I would suggest that you practice this motion when you're sitting at home watching TV. I used to sit and hold my hand still and practice only moving my thumb until I got really good at that. And I, don't cut myself.
Yeah, that's great practice. J-Pro has a great question, because as much as sometimes it's really annoying that our clients are like, oh, but can I wear it in a ponytail? It's a real thing, right? Like, people want ponytail proof. So is this ghost layering technique, is it ponytail proof?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, because I'm with you. And I actually just cut my hair short, and I'm already missing my ability to get everything up in a ponytail. So I can definitely see where that fear is coming from. So here's what I'm going to show you. When we move this hair all straight down, you'll see that around the face, even though I took this entire front section and elevated it and cut it, we don't see any short bits in this very front section. So as we lift this hair up into ponytail land, everything connects and everything keeps back. So the other thing I love about what we did in the back, I'm just gonna move her a little closer so you can see, is ponytail proof as well, because when we took out those short pieces from this occipital area, it's all going to be hidden underneath the long hair that we left at the perimeter. So we've protected this perimeter line all the way around because of those diagonal forward partings that protected the perimeter, because the hair at the bottom of that diagonal forward section has to move farther to even reach to get cut. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, you're definitely protecting all of that perimeter line by doing this technique. This is actually my go-to for people who have to be ponytail wearers because of that. It's totally protects their perimeter. Now, if you were really concerned about anything being detectable on the top of the section, one thing that you could do is you could simply take a section from the top of the head, and you could just set this off to the side, clip it out of the way, so that way you clip this section out of the way and just use that as a protective layer. So you could do all of your layering underneath. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to tip it down just a little bit. There we go. So you'll see I took this skinny halo section out from the top. Now you can do all of your ghost layering in this underneath section, and then you could let this lay over like a veil, and it'll hide everything. That's another trick that I like to do in the salon as well when I'm doing these ghost layering with a technique that's similar to the occipital bone. I will just lift the sections of hair horizontally and cut into it like I just did in the occipital area. And by leaving that veil on the very top of the head out, it hides everything underneath there. That's another useful way to make that happen. Well, I'm glad you guys are getting so much out of this. Teaching is something that is just so important to me, and it's such a passion. And these techniques have changed the game for me, and these tools have changed my life behind the chair. Speaking of these tools, if you are thinking that you need to get your hands on some of them, because like I said, if you don't have these 14-tooth point cutting shear, you're going to want them. I have an affiliate code that will save you an additional 10% off of your tool. So I'm sure Andrew could type that into the chat maybe for us. But my affiliate code that you can use at checkout on any of the tools is MollyG10. So when you're shopping after this, that's like your way of saying Molly sent you. right, I'm just gonna spin. So now I've switched over to the other side, and I'm gonna show you another little twist on this ghost layering. A couple of the things are staying the same. I'm still gonna take diagonal sections, diagonal forward sections, but this time I am going to, as I elevate the hair, I'm going to continue moving with the hair. So I'm gonna turn the mannequin facing forward so that way you can see the movement that I'm gonna be doing. I have my 14 tooth point cutting shear. Oh, did I mention I'm left-handed? I don't think I have yet. I'm a lefty, and let me just tell you, when Samvia started creating the shears in like way back in the day, when he first came out with his shears and he came out with left-handed shears, I was so elated because it was really hard to find left-handed shears. And if you're a left-handed stylist, you know how hard it is to get your hands on really high quality left-handed shears. So I don't think I'm wrong, I'm 98% sure every single shear that Sam creates comes in left-handed. So
all but two.
All but two. Okay, so hey, there's my 2%. So I mean, I've never not bought a pair of shears, if that makes sense, from Samvia that I haven't just absolutely loved that are left-handed. So kudos to Sam for looking out for us left-handed people. So I know I was working and talking at the same time, but I'm just showing you here's another way that we're going to take out a nice amount of hair and create these ghost layers. So with my 14 tooth comb, you could try combing the hair with these shears. See what happens on your more daring clients. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I am going to use my 14 tooth point cutting shear. And what I'm doing with this shear is a similar motion to what I did in the previous section. The thing that's going to be different here is as I am opening and closing the shear, I am wrapping the hair around the top of the head. So you'll see I'm just kind of open and close, open and close, open and close, open and close until I have wrapped the hair up and over the top of the head. That's going to remove a nice amount of hair, but leaving us with, again, undetectable layers. The diagonal forward section prevents us from cutting too much into the perimeter. And this is a great technique for those people who really have very flat hair. It's really hard to get their hair to dance at all, but and they need like a lot of weight removal in the ends. As we open and close, we're just going to continue moving. This is going to create kind of a swollen, if you will, a rounded, swollen effect through the sides of that hair, all while protecting the perimeter and protecting this top, the top of the hair too, right at this center top part line. So here's my final section. I'm going to because I'm right here at the perimeter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let some of these, let me drop her down just a little bit so you can actually see what I'm pointing to. There we go. Pick this section up again. I am going to watch for this front hairline hair to fall out. So right at about this point, see how we lost the slack on that? So once that hair falls out, I know I'm in a great position to start my cutting. So we're gonna just move, open and close and move. It's like a dance. Open and close and move, open and close and move until the hair falls out and we have nothing left to cut. All right, let me raise your back up here. Wow. That looks so nice. It has just so much movement. Look at how the ends dance now on both sides. Get down with your bad self, right? It's so good. It just has so much lift. And now we can see two different techniques, two different types of shears. But now look at how much lift and volume we're getting out of the ends of that hair. And the hair is actually moving and dancing now. It's just like, it's basically foolproof. I'm gonna be bold and I'm gonna make that statement. This is a foolproof way to create movement in the hair. All right. So one last thing in the back here. I'm just going to finish up this. This is the left side that I'm on with these texture shears, these 14 tooth point cutting shear. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to continue taking these sections above the occipital. But what I'm going to do in this back section, instead of going diagonal, I'm just going to lift them up vertically with vertical sections. That way I can really release a lot of weight from above this occipital area. We're getting into that parietal ridge area now, or the back of the head if you are a PBD language speaker. And this is where the hair tends to be really dense and thick. So what I'm going to do in this area is the same thing, just a cut and move motion, but I'm just taking it straight up off the head and then in the opposite direction. So in this back corner, I'm aiming from the left back corner to the right corner of the eye. And I'm just going to take a couple inch thick sections throughout this back area to really release the weight from this back section. I'm pretty much not going to be taking any hair out from the top of the section at all as we go. It's all coming from right inside this area where the density lays. So as you are mapping out your haircut in the salon to decide, where is this technique going to be best used for you, keep in mind, where is their most dense areas. Some people, their most dense area is like right in the center back. Some people, their most dense area is that area like right behind the ear. I know for me, that's always my personal trouble spot in my own head. So these techniques are great to pop in if you aren't necessarily needing to ghost layer the entire head of hair, but just maybe a focus area. So we're going to move, open and close, open and close, open and close, and move. Just a fine amount of hair left behind, but lots of variance in lengths. Cool. All right. Now she has one length. She has the ghost layers. Her hair is moving. She feels like a weight has literally been lifted off of her shoulders. I mean, the volume is incredible. So now what I'm going to do, just to put a little finishing touch on this, because I am all about bonus features, is using the 3-in-1 brush, dryer brush. I have this. This is one of those settings that I don't know if people really realize is on this, but there's a heat only setting on the dryer brush. I have the heat only turned on, and I love to use this tool to just put some polish on the ends of the hair. So the heat's on, and what I'm going to do is show my client how to use this dryer brush to just polish the ends of their hair. Especially if I've just cut their hair and I already have their style set up with a nice round brush blow dry at the beginning of the haircut. This takes just an additional couple minutes, and it really adds a lot of value onto the end of their service. And the amount of dryer brushes that I have sold, because I will break this dryer brush out at the very end of their service and just show them how easily you can update. Look at the shine on that. You can update their style with this one tool that you can either dry the hair with. You can use the heat only method like I'm using. I mean, it's just a really versatile tool. And it's one of those I always just kind of have in my back pocket, if you will. It's always set up at my station at the salon, so that way we can make sure that I can then, in turn, sell them to my clients and make their lives a lot easier. So as we go through, you can see how this really just putting a nice polish on the hair. Look at how shiny that is. So since we created some little bit of like fuzziness while we were moving our comb through the hair, this is just going to polish it right up. And I don't have to go through and do the whole head. I'm just really focusing in on the ends of the hair to just put that finishing touch on. Yeah, this dryer brush. And I love that it's small too. I travel a lot, so this is my go-to for when I'm traveling. I was just telling Andrew, I went to Alaska for vacation this summer with my family, and the dryer brush and the cordless flat iron were in my travel kit, and that's all I took because they're compact, they're lightweight, they didn't add a ton of extra weight to my luggage. I already had so much heavy hiking gear in my luggage that I didn't want to add even more. Look at that, just one pass. Can you see the shine on that? It's beautiful. So don't forget, if you're shopping after this, use that affiliate code. Tell them Molly sent you. It's Molly G10. Save more money. It's the best. It's the absolute best. These tools are worth every single penny that I've ever spent on them. But if you can also save a few pennies, then I'm all for that too. It's the best of all of our worlds. Awesome. I'm just going to do one final section and I'll show you the end result here. And I'm feeling really solid about this. Andrew, how are things going over in the chat? Are we all good?
We're doing great. I think you've just been so thorough with your explanations of everything that we haven't really had many questions.
Great. Well, here it is. I mean, it's really that simple. I think we always try to overcomplicate things, but it really can be this simple. And I mean, how gorgeous is this one length ghost layered bob?
Yeah, it's awesome. And there's so many elements to this that just make it so salon friendly. Like even just as you showed how nice it was, the perimeter is completely protected for ponytails, or if the hair is longer for up styles, things like that. This definitely gives that client that can be a little bit of a pain sometimes the option and to have great layers in their hair, but it's without the commitment. So thank you so much, Molly. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Like Molly said, there's a great opportunity for you. If you are a Samvia tool fan, if there was anything that you saw today that you are looking to pick up, you can use Molly's affiliate code, or you can also go sign up for your own affiliate code so that you can share it with your friends. What's great is if someone uses your affiliate code, you get a 20% commission on that sale. Plus, they get an additional 10% discount, even if it's a already discounted product. So great opportunity for you, great opportunity for them. And if you love what you see here on the Samvia YouTube and Facebook channel, you can bring the Samvia art team into your salon for hands-on education. You can head to samvia.com/education for more information on how to bring the art team into your salon live and hands-on. Thank you so much for watching Transformation Tuesday. Stay tuned because lots more education coming your way. Take care.